is freedom? Is there such thing as absolute freedom? In reality, no individual or society has the right to enjoy absolute freedom, because absolute freedom means absolute chaos. In the state of absolute freedom, there is no government, there is no rule of law, nor there is a moral code that we follow. But in reality, our freedom is limited by two factors: law written by man and moral code that we are naturally born with. In Western Hemisphere, we might enjoy freedom of mobility, freedom of speech, and freedom of affiliation, but still those freedoms are limited. For instance, you cannot join a criminal organization in the name of practicing your freedom of affiliation. You cannot say anything to demean other ethnic or races based on their skin color in the name of practicing freedom of speech. As I said, freedom has a limit. My point here is that does the United States of America has any moral obligation to safeguard the freedom of other nations beyond its border? Well, we'll see if you can answer this question. In 2003, United States of America invaded Iraq for two illegitimate reasons. A, that Iraqi government had and was developing weapons of mass destruction. B, to protect the freedom of Iraqi people, to be specific, to free Iraqi people from the tyrannical regime of the time. So, let us examine reason A. Did Iraq at the time possess weapons of mass destruction? The answer is absolutely no. The government of Iraq at the time never possessed weapons of mass destruction, but between 1962 and 1991, the government had an ambition to develop and use weapons of mass destruction. In 1991, after heavy condemnation from the rest of the world, the Iraqi government agreed to cooperate with UN Special Commission and International Atomic Energy Agency to stop its ambition of possessing weapons of mass destruction. As demanded by United States and the rest of the world, after intense inspection, the UN Special Commission and International Atomic Energy Agency presented their complete report stating that Iraqi government had stopped its ambition to acquire biological and nuclear weapons. Despite the report of the two institutions, America perpetually expanded its false narrative that the Iraqi government still harbors weapons of mass destruction. America campaigned vigorously and succeeded in its false propaganda. After hypnotizing the world with a false narrative, it went on to invade Iraq without a green light from the United Nations. Aftermath of the invasion, there was no weapons of mass destruction found. They found 0 weapons of mass destruction. Reason A was a complete failure. So now let us examine reason B. There's no doubt that at the time the Iraqi regime was tyrannical and ruthless regime that brutalized its own people and invaded Kuwait in 1990. But the question is, did America have any kinds of obligation to topple the Iraqi government to free the people of Iraq? So we are going to watch a small clip from 1994 of Bill Clinton and speech of George W. Bush between 2000 and 2003 when America was preparing to invade Iraq.
Simmering hatreds. Now the entire global terrain is bloody with such conflicts from Rwanda to Georgia. Whether we get involved in any of the world's ethnic conflicts, in the end must depend on the cumulative weight of the American interests at stake.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously. I remember the fact that he has invaded 2 countries before. I know for a fact that he's poisoned his own people. He doesn't believe in the worth of each individual. He doesn't believe in public dissent. I look forward to a dialogue. We must anticipate problems before that come. I will remind them that history has called us into action, that we love freedom, that we'll be deliberate, patient, and strong in the values that we adhere to. But we can't let the world's worst leaders blackmail.
From the use of naval and air bases, to help with intelligence and logistics, to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you. That trust is well placed. The enemies you confront will come to know your skill and bravery. The people you liberate will witness the honorable and decent spirit of the American military. In this conflict, America faces an enemy who has no regard for conventions of war or rules of morality.
Welcome. Now we are going to put reason B into examination. In 1994, Rwanda has seen the worst humanitarian crisis, a civil war that claimed almost 1 million lives. Did America do something about it? Of course, it provided humanitarian aid, but did America intervene to stop the killings of innocent civilians? The answer is clear. The answer is clear from Bill Clinton's speech. America has an obligation only to protect the national interests of America, not an obligation to protect the freedom of other nations. Thus, reason B2 is a legitimate and unjustifiable reason used to invade Iraq. But why then America invaded Iraq? After conducting some brief research, I came to 2 conclusions. A. America invaded Iraq to have the power to control the flow of oil in Middle East. B. America invaded Iraq for the exertion of power. Power is the most significant weapon that one country can use to manipulate and control the other less powerful countries. If too many countries become powerful, that might challenge the American position in the world. So, in order for America to remain superpower, America controls other nations from becoming powerful, especially those nations that do not share common interests with America. America's main objective is to remain superpower, but beside the obligation of advancing its national interests, does America have other obligations? The answer is yes. America every year provides millions of dollars in humanitarian aid to United Nations and other humanitarian organizations to help refugees and other economically impoverished countries. America, as economic giant, has moral obligation to help other nations. In reality, it seems the good side of America to outweigh its bad side. The question is it good for the world, for America to remain the world leader? To answer this question, more research is needed. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next. Bye.